There was a moment he threw his cards off the table. It's not 100% clear that he was intending to do that, but it kind of looks like he did. I would lean towards he was trying to throw them off the table. Someone said, and I didn't hear this personally, but I saw Burberry on Twitter tweet this. He threatened to burn down the casino, which
Didn't
is
I
always
get somebody banned for talking about shooting the casino? Like you can burn it, but you can't shoot it.
We're going to get to that next. That's a great point. He was eliminated in fourth place. And this brings us to where I want to share some tweets. So I'm going to pull this up quickly because the Twitter was not happy with the way that Phil Hellmuth handled himself. Chris Kruk tweeted saying, tuned in to WSB Stud Final Table because friend was on it. Hellmuth, just a colossal embarrassment to all of poker, which is quite strong, possibly fair. I saw David Lappin zag on this saying, folks need to get a grip. So what if Phil Hellmuth drops F-bombs? The man put on a show. He scraps. He's got passion. And he always gives 100%. If cursing upsets you, then go play pickleball with all the soft lads, which, by the way, is a lot of lads these days. Also, he has a point about burning the Rio to the ground. So definitely a zag there. A couple other quick tweets. One other quick tweet I wanted to cover. Random Chew, which is, by the way, a phenomenal account on Twitter. If you guys enjoy poker-related stuff and memes, this guy is hilarious. Hi, Phil. My grandma was your biggest fan, but after watching your last final table, she was so shocked about your behavior that she died. Thanks, Phil. Now I have no grandmas left. Okay.
That's amazing.
What's the line that we're going to draw on, quote, Phil's just being Phil, that we're okay with?
I mean, it's really weird, right? Because from a fan point of view, right, I think it's hilarious. Not saying I think it's okay. There's a lot of shit that's not okay that I find funny. Like, it brings me enjoyment, especially when it's not directed at me. Whether it's good for the game or appropriate, that's a different discussion. I think it's not good for the game or appropriate. Like, sure, you could say, oh, it's entertaining. People watch Phil. But again, where's that line at, right? Like, the guy's talking about burning it down. The guy's F-bombing people, being very disrespectful. I love Phil. I think Phil is an elite tournament poker player. He might have fundamentals, but there's no doubt about it. The guy puts up W's, gets there, whatever. And I like Phil personally. And my interactions with him away from the table, he's always genuine guy. You know, he's it's almost like a character. And I think it's almost like he's taking that character too far. Like, it's like, oh, people love it. I'm just going to keep getting in that zone. And I'm not saying it's fake. It's just like, it's like a switch turns on when he's there. Now, is it acceptable? Of course it's not. Are they going to do anything about it? Probably not, because they've let him get away with it. That you let a guy take an inch, they're going to take a mile. And they've let him take it further and further and further and further each year. And he brings so many eyes that at the end of the day, this is a business. And you know that they look at it from that point of view. They're like, well, it's not appropriate, but this is good for our bottom line. So they think. It may not be, because people's grandmas are dying, but it's bad for their bottom line or good for their bottom line. If they think it's good, they're going to allow it. And that's unfortunate. It's not fair. You know, like other people, guarantee if Joe Blow, who no one had heard of, just started acting like that, probably getting a penalty, probably getting ejected, disqualified. Oh, you said you're burning the Rio down. You're 86. Get out of here. Like, it ain't going to go the same for everyone. And that's not right. That it's not fair. Should Phil stop? I mean, I wish he would tone it back, but I don't think he knows how. Like, you're either going to get that, Phil, or you're not. Like, you can't, like, oh, turn the dial to 70%, Phil. Okay. Like, I don't think he has that in him. What to do about it? I mean, at least it's a 10K where it's all sort of professionals that they shrug that shit off, right? Like Zeno, Chidwick, these guys, they don't care. Not that it makes it okay, but like, you can't do that. New guy shows up for his first WSB. Guy might not come home. Guy might beat you up. Guy might just square up to Phil. And then what happens then? Like, is that guy in trouble, but Phil's not? Like, who? It's like I say, I enjoy watching it and hearing about it. I laugh, but it would be great if it stopped. And you wonder, is he going to be doing that? You know, Phil's getting up there, right? I'm 41. Phil's probably 60, maybe 58. Is he going to be an 80-year-old man doing this stuff? Because you know he's not going anywhere. At some point, it's going to stop. And I hope nobody kind of takes the reins. But I hope once he does, it's over. Like, there's no more of that.
Yes, he will, if he is still alive when he's 80, be the 80-year-old doing this. So 100%. What do you think? You think, guys really grow up from 60 to 70? That's really where all
you might run out of steam. You might not have it in him. It might be like, you motherfucker.
He's got so much steam. I'm going to push back a little on the character thing, because I don't think that he has a switch that he flips and then he's in character. Obviously, you've hung out with Phil away from the table. I have as well. And he's kind of just always like this. It gets exacerbated at the table, especially when he's losing. But the guy really, really cares. And
for sure.
He's hashtagging Quest for 16. This means everything to him.
Oh, I don't think he's controlling the switch. I think it happens. Like he's not making a choice. Like, oh, let me turn the switch on. It's just like he becomes this robot. Like,
maybe it's a dial, right? Maybe he's naturally on a 6, but then when he's at the table, it just goes up to 11 because he just can't help it. So that could make some sense there. We have to talk about the broader issue that you brought up here, which is, do superstars get preferential treatment, and should they? Because 100% they do.
They do.
I could not agree with you more. If random guy is just at the fountain table saying fucking throwing his cards and shit,
you need to calm down, sir. Like
100%, that's not going to be allowed. And honestly, I kind of think that this shouldn't be allowed. I think that their line should be the same for everyone.
Absolutely.
And Phil shouldn't just get to do whatever he wants because that's Phil being Phil. We have rules for a reason. I'm not an anti-cursing guy, obviously, but there's a point where it is excessive and the floor should say something. And then additionally, throwing cards, that's not okay. And I really should have found this clip, but I couldn't find it in the time I had to research this. But if he actually threatened to burn down the casino, I mean, what the fuck? Is there a point where we're going to say anything? We're going to draw the line anywhere?
Well, my thoughts, because like obviously I'm sure you're thinking of the comparison to what's his name? I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. Who said he was going to use an AK? Coming here, made a joke. You know who I'm talking about? He can't come to the Rio. Oh, Sam
Panzica, yeah.
So obviously we could draw the parallels there, right? But I'm not on the side of saying, okay, let's 86 Phil. I'm saying clearly when people say stuff like that, it's akin to like someone like, oh, I'm going to kill you. Like they don't literally mean it. There should be a penalty, sure. But there should be some thought into, is this literal? Like, is Phil really going to take gasoline and burn this place down? Is Sam really going to come in here with a gun? No. Yes, there should be penalties. But I think 86ing for life is excessive. So I'm not saying 86 Phil. I'm saying let's reduce Sam's penalty and let's penalize Phil. Bring them more in line together. Like, hey, here's your warning. Don't say things like that. No, I'm not saying ban him from the final table. But like, listen, you're going to have to take a day off. You're going to have to do that. Think about whatever. There should be a penalty. But those two should be equal. And they're not. They're like so far from equal. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I've talked with Sam for the last several years, just loosely. He's in one of the chats that I'm in. And overall, he seems like a quite reasonable guy. I didn't read his exact quote that he said. And obviously, there are some things you just can't say. But lifetime banishment from the biggest tournament series when you're a tournament player for one tweet or one post or wherever it was said, it does seem excessive. And I do feel that he should be reinstated. Obviously, what he did was wrong. But yeah, I mean, the floor did nothing here. They did nothing. This is Phil Hellmuth. It's Phil Hellmuth time.
They're afraid of their bosses allow it for years. So I'm not going to be the new floor man to say something. Then he might like curse me. I'll go to Jack and I'm not on the final tables anymore. That's maybe what's going through a floor man's head. Like, I can't say anything to this guy. They've allowed it for years. Why am I going to be the new vigilante cop?
Well, then we need to have some floor managers that are able to do that and stand up to superstars when they act like assholes. And look, like I've definitely gotten preferential treatment in spots along the way, but I mean, this is going to happen. But rules need to be set where you can't behave like this because it is kind of an embarrassment to see someone like that. Oh, Phil's found table. Let me buy my Poker Go subscription. Tune in. You purchase it. Here we go. And then you tune into him just throwing cards and yelling "fuck." I don't know. It was just over the line. I thought.
One of the biggest questions I get from people I meet like out and about. Oh, you play poker? You know that guy Phil Hellmuth? Yeah. Is he really like that? Is he really just like? And it's like he might be happy that people are asking about him, like to hear this. Like if he's watching or sees, oh, cool, people ask. But like, do you really want people asking? The first thing they ask, is he really like a big baby jerk? Like that's the first thing everyone asks me when they ask if I know Phil Hellmuth. Like, is his behavior the same? And that's. I'd rather, is that guy as great as he seems? He's got 15 bracelets, right? If I'm him, I'd rather the question be about my ability, not am I an asshole? Am I the asshole I am on TV? So that's unfortunate for him, but it's self, he brought it on himself.
It's funny you say that because, so Caitlin's dad, he's a Phil Hellmuth fan, and he asked me a question about Phil Hellmuth. I was like, really? This is real life. I have to answer Phil Hellmuth questions from my newly joined family here. Like, yes, he is like that. And then I hit up Phil and I said, hey, could you send him a signed book? And he's like, hey, yeah, no problem. He sent him a signed book immediately. Seriously, that book was there the next day. I don't even know that they could ship things that fast. Signed, ready to go. It was very nice of Phil.
I'm sure you feel. I like Phil. Phil's
a
nice guy. we're discussing his behavior at the final table, and there's nothing I wouldn't say here that I'm saying with you that I would say to him. I would say, Phil, hey, it was funny to watch as a spectator, but you were probably you were out of line, and you might want to rein it in. It's just my advice. But
Are there any other issues that you think that people like Phil get away with that most people do not? Is there anything else that kind of jumps out at you?
I mean, you've seen registrations held up. Late reg is closing. He makes a phone call and they put his chips down, which not to say that they shouldn't do that. But like, again, John from Iowa doesn't know who to call to say, hey, I'm running 5 minutes late, put my chips down, right? Like they just speed and hope they get there. So things like that, and that's minor because it's not like I'm sure if you called, I called anyway. If John from Iowa had the number, he'd probably get that same courtesy, but he just doesn't have that access. So things
that's
like that. There's little things like that, but there's nothing egregious. There's never like he gets to pick his starting table, or there's nothing I would say that like it kills the integrity of the tournament.
There was a Negreanu thing a couple months ago where he stood up on a table over the plexiglass or something, where I think I heard people talking about would a random person not get at least a warning there. That kind of jumped out to me as another. Do you remember there was something where Negreanu stood up and went over the plexiglass or something on a table?
No, I don't remember that.
Some clip of it somewhere. I'm sure someone will.
But again, I probably would get the same, benefit of the doubt. I would hope, maybe not. I'm not on their levels, but I'm known around the World Series that I think you too. I think the big names do get away with a little more, and that's unfortunate. But it's like,
I like that take. Yes, the superstars get away with things, and I hope I'm on that list. That's the David Williams.
No, I hope I can get away with it. I'm never going to act like that. I'm never going to behave. I did, I used to in my 20s be a little brash and motherfuck people, but it was kind of like not the same, but not anymore.